on. I'll call the meeting, regular Stratford Town Council meeting to order. This is our regular monthly meeting. I'd like to welcome everybody, especially on such a nice day, to come in here and take part in our council meeting. So thanks very much, everybody, for being here. First thing on the agenda is to acknowledge the land upon which we gather is the unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq, and we pay our respects to the Indigenous Mi'kmaq people of this territory, past, present, and future. Just ask anyone who has a conflict of interest on any of the items that we're going to cover here tonight to declare so now. If not, I'll ask for a motion for approval of the agenda as presented, unless there are changes anyone would like to suggest.
I'll move.
Thank you. Second?
I will.
Thank you. Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Motion carried. The minutes of our regular monthly meeting of March 13th, 2024, and the special council meeting of March 28th, 2024, where we passed the 24-25 budget. Both sets of minutes are in your package. Any amendments or changes? Any additions or deletions to those minutes? If not, I'll entertain a motion for approval of those minutes. Thanks, Jody. Second? Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Motion carried. Any business arising from those minutes that we're not going to be covering here tonight? Everything that's in those minutes has been either followed up or is being covered here tonight? Okay. Okay. We'll go to any presentations from the floor. No, if not, we'll go to my report. It's in your package. Just a couple of highlights. We did have a busy month, I guess, with the amount of budget activity. I can't seem to get that big enough to read. Yeah, one of the highlights was seeing our former councillor. That one there? Okay. Oh, there we go. Oh, thank you. One of the things that was a highlight for me was the going to a ceremony at UPEI to mark the appointment of a former town councillor, Diane Griffin, as Chancellor of UPEI. It was very gratifying to see someone who was a former councillor, also went on to be a senator, and is CEO of Health PEI and now become Chancellor of UPEI. It's just a great career of achievement and just a fine person. Just want to pay tribute to Diane, and it's probably because of all the experience she gained here in council that allowed her to achieve those great things. Just joking, of course. Anyway, no, we're really proud of her and really wish her all the best. Yeah, Shape Stratford is in its last month or so of operation. It will be continuing. The discussions will continue long into the future, though, about how we can bring more housing, and now it sort of segues into the Housing Accelerator Fund, which is a major opportunity for us to bring more housing to Stratford, and actually makes us accountable too for bringing more housing to Stratford. The funding's based on achievement, and but the Shape Stratford project and the funding that we receive for that will really be a great foundation for moving forward with the Housing Accelerator Fund initiatives and all the commitments that are being made that have been made there. Discussed a number of policing issues in Stratford with Chief Superintendent of the RCMP, Kevin Lewis. Yeah, there was a lot of interesting information that was shared, and we talked about how eWatch is going to be leveraged to really help everyone be a lot safer, and provide another tool for the RCMP and police across the island to make Stratford a safer place to live. Yeah, that's, those are the highlights of my month. Any comments or questions on any of the items in that report?
Just one comment, and it may as well be now. Just with respect to Shape Stratford, we do have a conversation coming up on Thursday, as well as a presentation to council and management about, I guess, the wrap-up. I think, is Wendy there? Okay. Yeah, she's there, yeah. That's all.
Yeah, it'll be a wrap-up session. It's open to the public, eh? It's not open to the public? No, okay.
Not the,
For you guys,
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions? If not, we'll go to next item on our agenda, the Chief Administrative Officer report. I'll ask CAO Crosby to give his report. Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you, Your Worship. My report is in your package. I will go over a few highlights. Along with the Deputy CAO, we attended a meeting with the President of Holland College to discuss the community campus and how we might be able to partner on some of these items in the future. Real great discussion with him, and looking forward to future discussions with regard to how we can partner on certain items once the campus is fully developed. Attended the Shape Stratford Intermunicipal Committee meeting. It's always great to talk to our municipal partners on common goals with regard to housing. And attended the Immigrant and Refugee Services Association Conference, The Way Forward. That was a great day, and a lot of good speakers. Made some good contacts there. Met some people from Stratford that are in different types of businesses that we can definitely talk with again. And I also attended a meeting with regard to Red Meadows and some possibilities of alternative development within that subdivision. Attended the federal government announcement regarding CMHC housing accelerator funds. Really great announcement, and really glad that we were able to get a part of that funding for our town. And also attended a meeting with representatives KPMG with regard to our preliminary findings with the staff compensation review. So getting to the end of that, and we should have some further information in the future, but they've done really good work so far. Other than that, there's several other items, but I'm willing to answer any questions.
Any comments or questions? Go ahead.
Just wondering, with respect to attending a meeting with the developer of Irving Avenue, just want to make sure everything's going the plan there?
Yeah, there was a little conversation with regard to the utility easement that was required there, but we had a good meeting with the developer and his representative, and we were able to work that out. Okay. And from what I understand, the utility agreement has been drawn up and sent back and forth between our solicitor and theirs, and I think we're in good shape.
Okay. Yeah.
Just a question, Jeremy, on revenue sharing there with the province. I know in the paper last week at Mayor Brown and I think the mayor of Summerside are looking at a different strategy towards shared revenue due to the fact that they're a city and public services and so on. And was there any discussion at all with anybody?
We have another meeting coming up next week with PEI. I'm hopeful that there will be representation from both communities at that meeting. A little surprised by that when I did see that article as well, but we will be having further discussions with them. We'd like to stay united with regard to our discussions on revenue sharing. I know that they do provide one service that we don't, and that's roads, but other than that, we provide every other service that those communities do. So yeah. I'd like to get them back into the discussions. But I can say that so far the negotiations with the province, there hasn't been very many, and I don't even know if they're going to have a representative at the next meeting, so I'm not as optimistic as I was, but we are going to forge ahead and try to get an agreement in some way, shape, or form.
I see FCM has a meeting on April 28th, and we're looking at maybe trying to get 6 cents. We're getting 2 cents now, regards to tax share and revenue.
Yeah, we haven't stated exactly what our position is yet, and we hope to get a negotiator ourselves as a group, and that's the thing that we're trying to do, right?
Yeah.
So, but I'll know more after the next meeting.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions? Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on our agenda, item number 9, is Safety Services Committee. Chair of that committee is Councillor Jody Jackson. I'll ask him to give his report.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm going to start off with the highlights of our last meeting on March 18th, and we are going to be meeting again on this Monday for Safety Services. Some information from the fire company. So at last council meeting, I think I brought up a number of false alarms that we're seeing, and I did mention, I believe, the crash notifications on the new iPhone. So something that Crossroads Fire Company will always respond to these, but we just want to make folks aware with the new functionality on the iPhones. If it drops off the seat, it could think you're in a crash, and it may automatically alert the authorities. And I think that might have happened the other day here in one area of Stratford. It's happened a few times, so just you have 15 seconds, I think, to shut off the message, or it'll go straight to emergency. So just something that they're mindful of, that we may want to do some messaging. Wendy, I think Chief McCormick may want to chat about that. We also discussed barbecues on apartment patios, and I did see some information from the Fire Marshal's office around the fire code that does speak to that across the province. So just something, a reminder out there for apartment dwellers that just to, there's not to be hibachi's, grills, or other cooking or heating device on the balconies or decks on apartments based on the provincial code. The RCMP, lastly, on the fire company, we recommended the appointment of new members to the Crossroads Fire Company board, Rick Richard and Bernadette Milner, two great residents who've been active with the community, volunteers. They've been, since then, at the special council meeting, I think we approved their appointment to the Crossroads Fire Company, so we look forward to meeting with them the first time next week. Just back to the RCMP report at our last meeting, we continue to see a push for traffic enforcement with good results and good coverage across the town. Unfortunately, there's not an RCMP member here tonight. I know they're all busy or away, so I'll try to fill in the best way I can here. So we've had a high number of tickets issued, and like I said, good visibility in key areas. One thing I did want to talk about too that we're very proud of, and the RCMP is very proud of, is a new initiative to engage with the youth in the area, developing relationships and trust with the RCMP. And it's essential, especially as we get into this, developing our new high school, and to have this great relationship that we do have, and just further enhance it with our youth, so that they know they can trust them and go to them when they need to. A little bit on transit, so we did have, and I want to thank Deputy CAO Jeremy Pierce, who gave a great overview of a massive document at our last safety service meeting. This is a public transit plan for Cornwall, Stratford, and Charlottetown. The final copy of the plan will be presented to councils, the three councils, for endorsement at another time. Last thing from that meeting I will talk about was we had some discussions around unsightly premises and unoccupied houses. I know there are certain areas in town there were unsightly premises, and we did talk about that, but in particular, unoccupied houses and the concern that there may be folks squatting in there. So maybe we'll chat about that maybe at next meeting, but just something was brought up as part of our, I think, Deputy Mayor, we understand there was an actual occurrence there. So any questions on the minutes of our last, summary of the minutes of our last meeting? Any, Councillor?
Just reviewing the minutes, I just have some questions, I guess, about the situation with the lighting, Maritime Electric.
Yes. Actually,
wondering if there's any update on how that's going.
yes, we're hopeful that Jeannie was able to negotiate. So just for some background, we had, some costing of, we're enhancing our lighting along Bunbury Road, so Jeannie may be able to.
And that's, yeah, because I remember, and I remember our initial discussions here at council where, it sounded wonderful. It sounded like, we were all on the same page. It sounded like Maritime Electric's going to be a great partner. It sounded like we were going to get something done at a very reasonable price. And
that's somewhat what has come out of it.
Yeah.
Although in the beginning, we didn't even think there would be a price. So when you say a reasonable price.
Well,
yes.
zero is reasonable.
Exactly. No, so I don't know how much came through with the minutes and how updated everybody is. But what had occurred essentially is that Maritime Electric proceeded with the work before issuing a quote to us. They just missed a step in there internally. So normally they would issue a quote for us to approve, and then they would issue the work order, but the work order got sent out before that step. So after the lights went up and everybody was happy, we got an invoice for, I think, $19,000 and change, which was a shock, obviously. So a lot of back and forth. Come to find out, it was new regulations and costs that were being incurred from Bell for transferring their cables. There are many cables out there along the poles. We had to install new poles to accommodate everything. So we were able to work through and get that price down to about $8,600. So we're much happier with that. The lights are staying in, so everybody will be happy.
All right. I mean, we want to be good partners, I guess, with all of our providers and service providers, but I mean, just hope. I don't think it's a problem, just so I understand though, nothing on the town side of things.
Oh, no. And
Yeah,
to be quite honest, it was a surprise even to Maritime Electric. It was new changes on Bell's side and increases in rates that they weren't even aware of at the time. So it kind of took us all for a surprise.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, Jeannie, and thanks, Councillor McDonald, for bringing that up. I was waiting to see where we landed on that, but again, the investment of that much money in the lighting that we have put forward on Bunbury will be beneficial going forward. So you know, the committee had discussed it at great length and was, you know, equally as frustrated as anyone else with the bill. But again, we do see it as an investment. We thank Jeannie and the staff for working with them to get that addressed to the best way they could. But again, with the campus coming in the high school, I think it's a safety, it's a positive, you know, safety enhancement, and it's going to be something that pays dividends for years. So and I appreciate you going through the minutes and picking that up. I do appreciate that.
Well, no, I mean, it's just, I think, it's hard to say, I mean, but 8,000 for improved lighting sounds like a reasonable number, all things considered.
Yeah.
It's a fairly intensive capital project. They're not insignificant light standards or anything like that. So I mean, to me, that sounds like a reasonable number.
Yeah.
I mean, without a lot to compare it to. Just have one more question. It's
Sure.
actually probably more from Jeremy Pearson. Just as you said, Jody, about the work that's been done on the transit.
Mm-hmm.
Just again, going through the minutes and noting that you and Jeremy, you had noted, I think, to our transit partners that for what Stratford's putting in, we're not necessarily getting the same return on that investment that we're making. I'm just wondering if there's any further discussions or any update on how that's going in terms of what we're getting versus what we're putting in.
Excuse me. The transit file is one that we're constantly working at. We're going through the transit review right now, which has been beneficial, but we haven't completed it yet. It'll be a presentation to council and ultimately to us, the final stages here in the coming weeks. So we look forward to getting that document, but it will help us shape us going forward. We are putting in a contribution of 15% with Charlottetown and 75% in Cornwall at 10%. We do believe that there's some inefficiencies within the routing, within the amount of transit traffic that we see within our community. And we know we have an upcoming meeting, I believe, on the April 22nd with the other municipalities to see where we can start looking at the whole transit file and making those improvements so that if we're paying 15%, we're getting exactly 15% of the transit within our community.
Not to put you on the spot, do you expect to have any more commitments or any movement forward after that meeting on the 22nd?
I think that's going to be a deep dive meeting into the whole transit process on the 22nd, and we'll have a lot more questions coming into that meeting as to how we want to see ourselves going forward. I'm not sure what the answers will be that date, but I think the three municipalities are committed to looking at the whole agreement between the three municipalities and see how we can make substantial improvements for Stratford, Cornwall, and Charlottetown.
Okay. All right.
Thank you both. And again, and I believe we had a good discussion on transit at that meeting. We also did touch on it at the accountability, sort of the intergovernmental affairs meeting, which will be up later in the agenda. I know a lot of strong feelings on transit, a lot of opportunity there, and again, I think a fair comment that it may feel like we're not getting, you know, our fair share of that. So we'll do what we can there. So just, again, we don't have an RCMP member here tonight, but the report is in your package. Just as some of the highlights for the last month. Again, we did talk about focus on traffic, and so a lot of tickets, a lot of speeding and other violations in March, 10 collisions in March, 15 theft under $5,000, and they were all gas and dash. So again, I know some of those Corporal Weatherby would say were, you know, folks who forgot, you know, inadvertently took off without paying, and they thought they paid. But again, we're another gas station about to open, we may see more. And it just speaks to the times that we're in, with some folks maybe in tougher spot. One thing I want to ask Corporal Weatherby about, we had 5 impaired, 1 roadside suspension and 1 failure and refusal, so that number is alarmingly high. So maybe we'll get a little more information on that at next meeting. I know that it's been a number that's been going up across the province, unfortunately, and across Canada, so I'd like to dig a little more into that and see what we can do. As I mentioned earlier, some of the community officer engagement, so we had Constable Doucette attended the Youth Centre Walkathon, Stratford Town Hall on March 8th, which was very welcome, I think. And Corporal Moore for Media Relations provided a fraud talk at the Cotton Centre to the Mayflower Seniors Group, which is great. It's a time where a lot of scams are, I mean, they're constant now, but it's great to have a trusted source come in and talk to them about it. Let them know a lot of these things that are too good to be true are definitely too good to be true. So we do appreciate the enhanced coverage and just the work the RCMP's been doing in the community lately, and looking forward to that extra officer that we've approved in the budget. So just more of the same great coverage, I think. Any questions on the RCMP? And again, apologies for our members that can't be here tonight.
Not so much RCMP specific. I'm sorry. You mentioned E-Watch. I'm just wondering if you could give us an update as to where we are and where we hope to be. I know we had several cameras installed, and we're hoping to get.
Yeah, I haven't had an update lately on those. If our Deputy Mayor or Jeremy, CAO.
There's been several cameras installed on the Trans-Canada Highway, more than we expected, I guess. And the Georgetown Road intersection, there are also cameras being installed there. Deputy Mayor and myself did have a conversation with regard to approaching businesses here soon, so we will be meeting with Wendy to come up with a platform there. I know that Wendy's been working on it and Deputy Mayor's been working on it, so there should be more to talk about in the next meeting for sure.
Excellent. Yeah, it is, and like I said last meeting, it you know, helped prevent a situation that could have went you know, really south. So we do appreciate that, and again, as I say at every meeting, thank the Deputy Mayor for helping push that, but also his experience with this, and I think it's going to be vital to help sell the idea of the community. He's had firsthand experience with it and the benefits of it. And I look forward to that and seeing, we had good, some interest when we had the meeting with business. And now that they can actually see the benefits and see where we've had cameras up, I think it's going to really help make that case. So I do thank you and the staff for that as well. Humane Society package is in our reports in the package. Nothing really too new there. I do want to remind folks that it is National Hug Your Dog Day today. My wife told me that this morning. So if you have dogs, I think most of us do in here, give them a hug. I already did today. They do have a special impact on your life, and I do appreciate that. And yeah, so I wanted to pass that along. Councillor Cox is not here, so I'm filling in for him on this type of announcement tonight. So back to transit for this month. So we had incredible numbers for March. 285 average riders per day, so that is up. Our previous high for March was 181 in 2023, so we're up over 104 a day from last year. That's incredible, and it's So while we have this growth, it does kind of cause some growing pains, and we do have some things that we need to look at, and part of that is, I know, Your Worship, we've talked about this, is we're trying to get across town, and we did hear it, I think it was Safety Services, about, you know, if you want to go from one side of Stratford, you got to go, get on the bus, go into town, come back to go to Mason Road or somewhere else. So we know that that's an issue. We know there's a lot of folks, especially with all the new amenities we have here, they don't really need to go across the bridge. So as we continue to build and grow our capacity here, there'll be a need for, and it's a need now, but maybe an on-demand type of service within the community. Last in my report is fire company, 13 calls in March. We had 1 MVA, 7 medical first response. Again, we were kind of keeping an eye on that number around. It's generally a few a month, but this month it was 7. Some fire alarm malfunction. We're still getting CO2 alarms coming up. So as people are still using heating, there have been some serious near misses, I guess, this year with CO2. So I want to remind folks, as I have in the last few meetings, to make sure you keep your get your furnace and your heating devices checked and serviced regularly. You know, we've had some pets that unfortunately didn't make it out of one of those, but luckily, you know, we're able to save lives there with the CO2 monitors. And just to that, I know the fire company says if your alarm is beeping or if it's sounding the alarm, take it seriously. A lot of people think that they're just, maybe the batteries are running low, but every time that they've had kind of an alarm, the numbers have been well above the threshold. So just a reminder to look at those. And I did talk about the auto crash detection on cell phones becoming more prevalent. Last thing, we've had some calls and emails in the community around ATVs being on the trail. I know out my way in Ward 3, some within subdivisions. So there's a group actually met last night to try to help set up a legal trail system in the outskirts of Stratford. Appreciate the concerns from residents around noise, around folks. We don't want them on the trail. It was actually part of the Stratford Trail. So again, with, you know, some people don't know, others don't have anywhere else to go. So I'm hoping that these things can get underway and give folks a legal, safe place to ride instead of, you know, in the pits and the subdivisions and stuff like that. It's okay to be there. You can ride where you have permission, but again, at, you know, nighttime, it's pushing it a little bit. So again, if you see anyone on our Stratford trails, let us know. Let them know if you can that it's not a legal trail for ATVs, but we're working on finding a solution to have places for them to go. Not we, but people in the community are. Sure.
Just a question, and it maybe is self-evident or something, but is there muffler technology that will, like the 99% of the comments and questions and negative issues that people have with ATVs and dirt bikes is because of the noise?
Yep.
If they could ever get mufflers that would allow them, like the Goldwing motorcycle, I mean, you can't hear anything, it's like a car. I mean, what's the deal with the noise?
Yeah, I think or what's that? Electric. Well, there are some electric ones coming out, so I'm getting into my other world here a little bit, but it's the machines when they come out are subject to standards. I know that's something that you know, the ATV Federation here is trying to push, is no modified exhaust. A lot of those are modified for that reason. Same as Harleys. I run a Harley rider myself. I had a modified exhaust. It sounded cool, but it was obnoxious. So it's one of those things where we need to better educate folks on where they're riding. If you're riding in a neighborhood in a pit, if you have a loud exhaust, be mindful of the time. Be mindful of the neighbors saying, "Can you keep it down? I got a kid that's trying to get to sleep." But those things, those would be modified and not in line with what majority of folks would do. But again, it's an education thing, and they might not know. But I know it's something that across the country is a push to make sure there's no modified for that reason, because cities and towns are encroaching on the other areas, and where it used to be safe to ride loud, it's not now. So we got to be good neighbors and good stewards of the land. So good question. Something that obviously with enforcement, they can also keep an eye on that too.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions? Any questions?
With the rising cost of everything, Councillor Jackson, just wondering on the fire department, like Alexander and Crossroads and, what's Crossroads, Vernon River and so on, are they sort of is a provincial agreement with the province, the cost sharing, like us as neighbors, like for equipment? Is there anything there that comes into us, the town of Stratford, regards to radios and other stuff, other
So
equipment?
I can, and maybe Jeremy can fill in if I'm offside here, but I know a lot of the rural fire companies they work through rural development to get access to funds for different pieces of equipment to a certain extent. There's not a lot of money there for this stuff. They'll have mutual aid kind of agreements, but as far as tendering and equipment, it's not really, it's kind of every department, my understanding, for themselves. So the Crossroads Fire Company just recently approved a new boat, their boat has been determined to be not safe, so they had to buy a new boat because we have been doing water rescues. We now have the capability with E-Watch to be able to see if something goes on out there, and the expectation from our residents and our partners, City of Charlottetown has one, North River has one. We need to be able to get there, and we need to be able to get there fast. So, those are expensive pieces of equipment to buy, but we've had them, and there's an expectation we do keep them. So again, these are things that there are ways to get assistance to a certain extent for those, but I know there's been discussions with government around how they may help with some of those capital purchases, I guess, or the significant equipment purchase. But no, there's not really, there's different needs in different departments. Your worship talked about the fire engines, so ours are they have to be within a certain age to make sure we get top insurance coverage. Others don't have the luxury of having as many residents and as many as maybe the resources that we have, and they're using older equipment, which tends to lead to higher insurance costs. So there's lots of different factors. Back to your question, though, not really. There's not really. There's consideration of different things. We're not trying to duplicate efforts and equipment, but we're big enough now that we need certain things, and I think we're trying to have the resources and things in place for our members to function to the level we expect.
Actually, I think that's a good idea, Deputy Mayor. I think if that could be passed on to the provincial fire marshal, I think that would be whoever's responsible for coordinating. If there was a coordinated approach to procurement, there would be a potential cost saving and convenience improvement for especially for smaller departments. Yeah, and save money for sure.
Well, there's just the call now is just so, I expect a lot of the firemen now with you're almost a paramedic now, like it's just the role has changed a lot, right? So there's a lot of pressure on emergency workers, right? So just our fire department's going to be going to Alexander and Johnson River and so on, with all these stresses, right? So, but hopefully the province recognizes it because we're reaching out and we're a great neighbor, as you say, friendly town, but at the same time you want to recover something from it.
Yeah, just on that, I know our local members and ministers here have been very great to listen to those concerns and are doing their best to try to work with that. But I think the joint procurement or group procurement thing is a great idea. The needs are different in some areas, and they may, it may be something that not all of them may want, but it sure makes sense to look at that. Yeah.
Thank you.
And we have a lot of costs. We want to keep retention too, Councillor Jackson. We want to have our fire department strong, right?
Well, that's the thing. When you're relying on volunteers, they need to know. Again, back to the boat idea, we couldn't, in good conscience, send our members out in something that wasn't safe. You send 3 or 4 folks out to save one, and you could end up with all of them in trouble. So that's why, having to make these purchases may be unforeseen and definitely costly, but they, again, there's the expectation. There's a proven track record. They've been involved in a lot of rescue and recovery. We're surrounded, I think, like 3 sides by water almost in the Stratford, so it's something we do need. And they're looking after us very well, I think.
And far as the boat there, I know the RCMP has their own boat too, so they're boating Cornwall, the RCMP has their own boat, because they're supposed to look after all the water, right? Anything in the water is the RCMP, right?
Yeah, and the one thing with that, and I don't want to belabor this, but there's different response times there's inshore Coast Guard that has responsibility, I think, from May long weekend or 1st of May until September. They have, I think it's young officer trainees or the auxiliary that are there. And they, again, in the summertime, great. I know with I think the Coast Guard themselves, other than that, Surrey's the closest, so they're probably half an hour, 45 minutes away. So we need to be able to get out as quick as we can and cover the distance. And I think that's why I know with this new purchase, it's going to be a lot more. It's going to be lead to a lot more timely appearances on the scene. Yeah, thank you.
Any other comments or questions on the report, Safety Services report?
Just tell Jody, I'm co-chair of Safety Service, about the bus stop. We're putting a shelter on the corner of Rankin and Bunbury Road, so so in that area, so just was going to mention to Jody there, so it's in the process now, and with the lighting, it'll just blend right in there too. So
new shelter or whole new stop?
New shelter, there is a stop.
yeah, yeah.
And I do want to thank Jeannie for that too. I know we had a good discussion at the last meeting around, I think it was the last meeting around that, and the importance of that. And there were some concerns, I know, from residents in the area. I know that's an area where there's I think there's certainly going to be some changes to the road structure there. But in the meantime, this is a positive step to give them a safe place to wait.
Okay,
Can I ask one question? I don't know if it's safety services or infrastructure, but I just remembered someone asked me about it. Currently, there is, I'm going to guess, like a 10-foot underground pipe with a mechanical joint elbow, like in the kind of ditch on Kinloch Road. Is that going to be installed somewhere soon?
Is that by the Fleury subdivision?
Yeah, someone brought it up, just like that. It's potentially like, it's kind of in a way that's up a little bit, like if ever a car went out, like.
Is it a catch basin or is it?
No, it's like a vertical pipe is what you're referring to?
No, like it's not in use, like it's.
No, but it is extending out from the ground a few feet up, is that?
Yeah.
No,
Oh, no, that's not.
No,
No, the vent.
no, there's 2 vents. They're part of infrastructure. This looks like a pipe that is going to be installed underground, like it's not in use, it's just
Like a
resting
Light
in.
green color?
The
Oh, it's just
ditch.
laying in the ditch?
Yeah. And it's about 10 feet. I couldn't guess the width of it, and it's got an elbow joint, mechanical joint that sticks up from it.
So you think it's a potential danger? Is that what you're
Potential
thinking?
danger, just like, it's just, I don't know if it's there, like it's going to be installed, like someone set it there as if they're going to come back to it, or it's going to be moved.
I'd have to have a look. I'm not aware of why that would be there or
Okay.
what it
Maybe-
might be.
Maybe we'll follow that up with
Yeah.
infrastructure
Yeah,
staff?
For sure.
Yeah,
And
that'd
get
be
back
great.
to you?
It was on the safety thing, someone mentioned to me
Well,
about
thanks for
safety, and I
raising
was
it.
like, I don't know where that would fall. Anyway, thanks.
Thank
We will
you.
look into it.
Any other comments or questions on the Safety Services report? I just have 2 comments. One is around the 5 impaired drivers. I think that's each one of those impaired drivers that are taken off the road, that's a potential life saved. You think about the fatalities that have occurred because of impaired drivers, and I want to commend the RCMP for that, taking those 5 impaired drivers off the road. And I think it's a great sign that they're able to catch. It's a great sign in a way that their enforcement is really working, but also it's I guess it's a negative in the sense that you think there's that many people out there that are driving around impaired, because that may be even those are the ones that got caught. There may be more than that are out there. So it's a cultural thing, and it's really sort of a sad commentary, but it's also a positive for the RCMP. The other thing is about the transit. I think the To be fair to the report is a deep dive into the whole, it's analysis, it's a lot of research into the whole transit situation with regard to Stratford and what our needs are, and going both now and into the future with our population growth. And I look forward to really some positive results from that. I think, to be fair to our partners, I guess this has just evolved over the years, that you know, we've gotten to this model that. But we can certainly change it. We're paying a good dollar for transit, and we'll be looking at, you know, I look forward to the briefing on our next committee of the whole. Thank you. Any other comments or questions? If not, we'll move on to recreation, culture, and events. And I'll ask the chair of that committee, Councillor Jill Chandler, to give a report.
Sure, thank you. The Recreation, Culture, and Events Committee met on March 28th, reviewed the community campus plans, the 2024 operating and capital budgets, waterfront park development phases, as well as winter and spring programming. Stratford Youth Centre and Council, March break was a very busy time. There were activities planned for each day. Stratford Youth Council planned and hosted a free Easter event in Cotton Park on March 23rd that included an Easter egg hunt, scavenger hunt, hot chocolate, art and coloring stations, a visit from the Easter Bunny. The event attracted an estimated 300 kids and was funded by the Youth Council. And I think, like all events, they did a great job. We had a lot of uptick, and they use these things as learning opportunities. And I'd just like to encourage any resident or families that attend any of the town events that are organized by the Youth Center to make sure that you say thank you to the kids, because they do such a great job from the conception, like the initial ideas to the executing, implementing, on-site, all of it. So they're learning such valuable skills, so thanks to them. Youth Center has been working on rehearsals for their upcoming drama production, Charlotte's Web, which is set to open in early May. Youth Center Leadership Group continues to fundraise for the leadership trip in July. They've currently raised $35,000. They need approximately $46,000 to reach their goal. They're planning an online auction at the end of May and early June and have started to collect item donations. I know that last year some of the council helped out, I believe, with perhaps sourcing items. And I don't know if we've gotten that call yet, but I know I can count on my fellow councillors to participate in the auction and or source any items if that ask comes out. Youth Center will also be hosting a kickoff the summer raffle again this year, running from mid-April to the end of June. In regards to arts and culture, registration for the spring art programs open on March 4th. Programs are taking place at the Town Centre, Gertrude Cotton Centre, as well as some programs being offered online. In regards to Town Centre stage programming, spring and summer program registrations, including flag football, I guess this is inclusive of recreation as well, full body fitness and more are now open online and in person with the exception of the pickleball program. The registration for that will open on April 15th, and we know many are waiting for that. Stratford Summer Camp will be offered out of the Stratford Youth Centre July and August. The summer will have just 8 weeks this year for the youth camp, as camp won't be offered for a week in late July because the youth center tour to Toronto. Spring planning is underway for our outdoor spaces, parks, and sports field. This year, the new mini field at Fullerton's Creek Conservation Park will open for young softball and baseball players. Many projects are slated to take place over the spring, summer, and fall months within the community, including the installation of bike racks and benches at selected Stratford trails, parks, and beaches, the development of a multi-use court at Clearview Park, park upgrades at Lance Park, and the development of 4 pickleball courts at Kinloch Park. And before closing the report, I just wanted to bring to everyone's attention a significant milestone, the retirement of Tanya Craig. We would like to extend our heartfelt thanks and congratulations. So Tanya was the esteemed program coordinator within the Recreation Department with the Arts and Culture portfolio. And Tanya had a 20-plus year career with the town. Her dedication, passion, and unwavering commitment have left such a mark on our community throughout her tenure. She was instrumental in planning and delivering nearly every community event, enriching the cultural fabric of our town with countless new programs and spearheading the development of public art initiatives that have brought beauty and vibrancy to our community. So if you've enjoyed something in that portfolio over the last 20 years, you can know that Tanya was involved. Her leadership, creativity, and tireless efforts have been invaluable to the town, and her presence will be missed. We are profoundly grateful for her contributions and the lasting impact she has had in our community. As Tanya embarks on her new phase, we express our deepest gratitude and appreciation for her years of dedicated service. So thank you, Tanya, for your outstanding contributions, and congratulations on your retirement. And that concludes my report.
Yeah, I'd also like to thank Tanya. That she's given great service to the town, and really wish her well in retirement, and thank her for all the great things she did for us at the town here. Any other comments or questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Just a quick comment on a personal note. I had was able to have probably 16 of our staff from Workers' Compensation Board over here on Friday night last week for pickleball. Had a great time. I think they're all hooked. They're probably going to be bugging Jeremy, Rachel for some more times. I know that may not be possible, but I just want to thank the town rec staff for allowing us to come in just with sneakers and to have everything we need to play. A lot of them had never, I think most of them had never played before, but it was phenomenal, and they're cracking to get out here in the summertime. So again, thanks to staff. Having the gear, I mean, it's nice. They didn't have to have any paddles, they didn't have to have all that stuff, but welcomed with open arms when we got here, and 2 hours is probably more than enough. They were all just dog-tired at the end, but I want to thank staff for that, and for allowing allowing me to take some folks over from town to enjoy our amenities over here. Thank you.
I just have one question. It might be recreation, might be infrastructure. I had a question from a resident wondering about the boardwalk at the waterfront, and wondering what's the status of it in terms of usability. I mean, I drive by it and I try to take an eye on it. I don't know if it's traversable or not. And if it's not, just wondering if there's... June. Is it June? Yeah.
And it's not. We're certainly not recommending people to be out there. They are barricading. The contractor is barricading that off at the end of their work day, but I know there has been people out there. I was out last week for a site meeting, and there are definitely trip hazards in amongst some sections that they haven't completed yet, so definitely we do not want people out there. They are aiming, they have presented a up-to-date schedule, and they're aiming for the middle of July. Hoping that they might be able to shorten that up some, but not committing to that just yet, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to say, too, congratulations, Tanya, on her retirement. My last term was chair of recreation, and had some great times with the whole group there, Jeremy and Dwayne and Rachel and Tanya. So she was a great asset to the town, and I hope to wish her well in her retirement. Enjoy the summer. But anyways, I was just going to ask the question about the multi-use. I see around the table we supported the multi-use court at Clearview Park. Is there anything developed on that, Jeremy? I was just, is there?
I don't have, sorry, we don't have a timeline as to when that will be created. We have reached out to a couple playground installers or company organizations to get some preliminary designs and pricing, so I have a couple of those already. So the next phase will be to take that information and meet with residents to see if that information, or what we believe or how we're interpreting their request is suitable, and then from there we'll take it back and work on getting it installed. In all likelihood, we're probably looking at the end of the summer before it gets installed, in regards to where we're at in terms of time frame right now, but it's something that's definitely on our calendar for this year.
So describe the park itself, be something like, pondside sort of in that?
Yeah, that's the way the residents have submitted their request. Yeah, it'll be on a smaller scale than Pondside. Pondside is one for the entire community.
Yep.
The scope of the project will be smaller since it is going into a neighborhood park, but it'll be a nice addition to that park and to that area.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to commend you for the consultative approach and the engagement of local residents. I think that'll pay off in spades, because it's a great approach, and they'll get what they want within the budget that's been established in our budget. So that's a great way to proceed. Even if it takes a little bit longer, I think everybody will understand that, you know, it's important to engage local residents and to get their viewpoints and what their needs are. Any other comments or questions on the Recreation, Culture, and Events report?
Just one more, I gotta say, because unfortunately there was some negativity expressed about the efforts of our youth event, and I just want to address that. I just want to say, I know Councillor Chandler, you've already noted the excellent efforts that they undertook of their own initiative to put on that event, and I just really want to make sure that, you know, we're doing everything we can to support their initiatives and not just financially, but also to say we're always behind them, and we really just appreciate everything that they're doing, and negativity is totally uncalled for as far as I'm concerned. Just want to put that on the record.
Yeah, and I think that is important, Councillor, because there was some negative comments online, and just to set the record straight, the youth planned for 200 people. There were 300 that showed up. Also, they had planned on each child being able to take like 8 or 10 eggs or something like that, or 6 or something like that, and some people got overzealous and filled their baskets, and as a result, there were some kids that weren't able to get any, and there were some disappointed kids. But it's not the youth center's fault. Or the kids' fault. It's just a situation, and it was a learning experience. And they did it out of I understand they didn't charge for this event.
No, it was a free event.
Yeah, they just they had raised some money, and they wanted to do something for the community, and they did something for the community. It was really a great thing for a lot of kids, and a lot of fun by a lot of people. But as you know, as most events, or some events, on a nice day you get more than you anticipate. But they had a budget. They bought so much material, and unfortunately the demand was greater than the supply. But I think next time they'll have some better. They learn from it. They learn from it.
Yes, I think that the vast majority of people that took part in the event really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And that, as they do in every event that they implement, their learning opportunities and their hands-on real experiences, and where this, yeah, like, it was a success.
And every one of them is a future leader of tomorrow, and they're learning all the time. And I think this involvement, being able to socialize with other young leaders and to learn things through events like this is just great for our community and for our island and for our country. So
yeah.
It's just great.
It's great that you got those numbers, like the numbers are high and the attractions are,
Yeah.
Cotton Park is getting
Oh, yeah.
a lot of good publicity from Cotton Park.
Yep. Any other comments or questions on the Recreation, Culture, and Events report? If not, we'll move on to Finance and Technology. I'll ask the chair of that committee, Councillor Ron Dowling, to give his report.
Thank you, Worship. The Finance and Technology Committee met on 20th of March, 2024. The minutes of that meeting are included in the package as circulated. A couple of points from that on the finance side. A recurring theme for the meeting of late has been the revenue sharing agreement. I won't go into too much detail, but a couple of points. I know staff are working hard to establish meaningful dialogue with the province, and are working as well with the Federation of PEI municipalities with the potential for development of an overall negotiator. I think it's important that municipalities, Stratford and every other municipality, not have to enter these negotiations on their own. I think, you know, the end result should be a equal agreement among all municipalities on based on the resources that the municipality has and has to put out. You know, Charlottetown, Summerside, of course, have ownership of the roads. their agreement's going to be slightly different, but fundamentally, otherwise, the agreement should be the same across the board. We don't want any type of, one-offs all throughout, but I won't go into any more detail on that because I know staff will be reporting stuff to us in the near future as far as those types of developments. On the technology end of it, staff the committee is putting more of a focus on technology, and in particular, staff have plans in the work to engage with the business community to try to basically see where the town can work with the business community to ensure a joint approach among the businesses to ensure technology security awareness is a focal point. And as mentioned earlier, eWatch is essentially a component of that, but there's other aspects from a technology perspective that we might be able to assist our businesses with. And the stronger the technology security for our businesses, then the better served they are within the community. So that's a couple of things. Otherwise, if there's any questions in relation to the minutes, I'd be happy to address them.
Any comments or questions on the Finance and Technology report? I just want to say that I thought the job that finance staff, you counselor, and everyone on the finance committee, I thought it was a great team effort to put the budget together. It was a really challenging budget, really difficult, but I think everything was well reasoned, and the allocations are fair, and everything that's in that budget is required and well presented. So I just want to commend everyone involved in the development of that budget and that document and that presentation and the whole budget process. I just want to commend them for that. I think it was a great job.
Thank you, Worship. And I think, the feedback-wise from the community is overwhelmingly in favor of the approach for the future that the council and staff are taking on behalf of the citizens. And as these things such as community campus unfolds and further development within the community from a residential perspective, then that will all come to fruition over time. But I think generally people are in favor of the approach that we're taking. And, staff deserve the credit for spending months in different meetings with our CAO to pare down the budget to a presentable format for council to evaluate and make decisions on. But appreciate those words, and I know staff would as well.
Any other comments or questions?
No, it's nice to see around the table, everybody voted in favor, the 6-0, and with 7 counting the mayor, and looking, like you said earlier, Councillor Dowland, not kicking the same old can down the road all the time, and we're moving forward. But at the same time, we put this, we want to be recognized here how this town has grown, and we're looking at building. We purchased the land, we're building that multi-campus, and it's you see other places getting support, Tyne Valley, Rustico, and other places, maybe Summerside, Charlottetown, and it's our turn here. I'll say that loud and clear. It's our turn here, because we're putting the ball in place here to move forward, and we recognize the town's growth and so on, and where we're going to be in 2040 or so on, and we're moving forward. We're thinking forward that way. But we have to get support from all levels of government, the federal government, the provincial government, and our own taxpayers and so, our own municipal residents and so on. But know we're with the ball's in place now, so hopefully everybody will come out and on the right side.
Yeah, and I also want to commend council, because I think you, Deputy Mayor, and the whole council worked hard. I think the process we used this year was excellent. I think the fact that we had the priority setting exercise, and that drove the budget, and then from the budget there'll be a plan developed to implement all of those 18 or 20 priorities that we've established, and so we're accountable now. We're going to be on the hook for getting stuff done and making sure that it's done right. So I think it's a good approach, and hopefully this time next year we'll be looking at some of the major issues or major priorities on their way to being addressed.
Addressed.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a whole, the town itself, the government talks about retention of nurses and doctors and everything else. So we need retention of the staff here, because the staff do a great job.
Absolutely.
And they have to benefit too. So it's a big concern we have. We don't want to lose anybody, because we know how great value the staff is, and part of raising the taxes keeps that retention. And there's other options out there that go to the government and so on. But Jeremy, our CEO, handles those problems inside and works out really great and keeping our staff lean. So
And it's based on a study that was commissioned to establish what the organization for the first time in about 25 years is being looked at to see
Yes.
what it should look like and bring it into line with our current needs and our current priorities.
Yes.
So, yeah. So
Just
I wanna-
further to that, Your Worship, it's a very good point that Councillor Glant makes, and from a internal municipal perspective. But the work that's being done in relation to Shape Stratford, in relation to the community campus, also serves to provide for greater opportunity for recruitment and retention of people currently outside the province that we want to draw in. People will come to communities, come to the province, if those infrastructure capabilities are met, such as recreation and schools. So, we're very much on path to position ourselves well for that, in favor of the province overall. And as Councillor Glant mentioned, this is a partnership approach, and I think Stratford has very much demonstrated its willingness to roll up our sleeves and be a partner in that. And we do expect, as other communities have benefited, we do expect that the province and federal government will come online. And we've had very good relations with our federal and provincial representatives, and as we get further into further down the road, then hopefully that'll all fall into place. And when we look at Stratford in 10 years' time, I'd love to be able to see exactly. Hopefully I'll be here to see it, but love to be able to peer into something now and see how that impacts not only Stratford but also the province's ability to recruit teachers and doctors and nurses and that sort of thing, because they need a place to go, and where they go has to meet their needs, particularly those with younger families.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I just have a couple of items from Director O'Connell, if there's no further comments or questions in relation to the minutes. Okay, she advises that utility bills are being processed, and the e-bills were sent out on April 5th, and mailed bills should be received by April 12th. Staff updated billing information for the new fee schedule, as well as she met with staff for their performance evaluations. Worked on updating job position information for KPMG. Worked on work plan for 2025. So it shows how fast things move. We're just finishing a budget for 2024-25, and we're already into work plans for 2025. Starting to work on year end, working on getting new budget information into the accounting system. And staff is also working on financial data for the community campus build out. And of course they remain, as all staff in Stratford do, busy with other day-to-day tasks. Aside from that, Your Worship, the town income statement and town utility income statements are attached to the package, if there's any questions in relation to those.
Any comments or questions?
If not, that will be the entirety of my report for this month, Your Worship.
Thank you for your report, Councillor. Great job. The Next item is Planning, Development, and Heritage. I'll ask Councillor Jeff McDonald, Chair of that committee, to give his report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So first of all, I'd like to recognize the presence of Sam Chase, our building official. Sam has really taken that responsibility head on. They've done an enormous amount of training in a relatively short period of time, and really great to have them in that role. And it's just, again, not to pat ourselves in the back here too much, but it's really reflective of the fact that development in Stratford is proceeding at a fairly quick pace, and Sam taking that role on is allowing us to really meet our obligations to make sure that planning applications and permitting are done in a very timely fashion. Really appreciate their presence here tonight. Not just here to recognize them, though. They are here as well to answer any questions potentially about our resolution, which will come later. Also want to recognize the fact that it's National Siblings Day. Certainly I've got a couple of them. Sometimes they're great, sometimes they're not, but I wouldn't be the person I am today without them, so certainly want to recognize them, and I'm sure everyone else wants to do the same.
So hug a dog and sibling day?
It's a big day. Yeah. Turning towards our planning presentation, I'll begin with our building permit summary. You'll note, and I think I'm somewhat echoing myself, and I've been on the same refrain here for the last few months here in 2024, but of note is the fact that commercial permitting development value is really driving our growth. To date, currently year over year, from January 2023 to March 2023, we're at 5.4 million in development value. From January 2024 to March 2024, we're at just over 6 million. And again, it's great to see, and the growth really is, we're holding steady on single family, we're holding steady on multifamily, which is great, but we're seeing, again, increased growth in commercial. Again, it's not a coincidence that we now have a building official. It's not a coincidence that we're seeing further development in our commercial zones of interest, and I have no doubt we'll see more institutional development value being added as some of our larger projects come online. So again, it's all of the themes here, certainly with respect to our budget. It's all of a theme with respect to safety services. It's certainly all of a theme with infrastructure and recreation. This is a town that's growing. We're on the move. It's great to see. And we couldn't do it without our wonderful staff, and we couldn't do it without the support of our citizens. I think we're on a good track, and so certainly it's always great to see the numbers going up. They're not the whole story, but they're certainly a part of it. It's great to see, I think, that we're moving in the right direction. In terms of a resolution, we do have a resolution that's before us here today. It's a relatively brief one. I'll read it into the record. It's PH 005-2024, bylaw number 50B, general amendments to our building bylaw, and it's our first reading. It's moved by myself as Chair of Planning, Development and Heritage, and it reads as follows. Whereas the province of Prince Edward Island has adopted the 2020 National Building Code of Canada and the 2020 National Energy Code of Canada for buildings on April the 1st, 2024, as per the provincial government's harmonization agreement. And whereas Section 5.2 of the building bylaw, being bylaw number 50, requires the town of Stratford to adopt the 2020 National Building Code of Canada and the 2020 National Energy Code of Canada, for buildings in conjunction with the province of Prince Edward Island, as to not conflict with the more stringent provisions. Be it resolved that bylaw number 50B, a bylaw to amend the building bylaw number 50, be hereby read and approved a first time. This resolution bears the recommendation of the Planning, Development and Heritage Committee as discussed at a meeting held on April 2nd, 2024.
Do I have a seconder? Second. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Okay, any discussion?
So I'll just very briefly, from what I understand, I mean, I'm certainly no expert, that would be Sam, but when it was in the minutes of our planning meeting held on April 2nd, I understand 2020 updates to the National Building Code include the following riveting details, which include technical requirements for large farm buildings are added, which address fire protection and occupant safety, as well as ventilation and air conditioning. This one was somewhat interesting. Encapsulated mass timber construction is introduced into the 2020 building code, enabling the construction of wood buildings with up to 12 stories. Hard to believe that, but go for it. Accessibility requirements are updated to reduce barriers relating to anthropometrics, plumbing facilities, signage, entrances, and elevators. Design requirements for evaporative equipment are revised to minimize the growth and transmission of Legionella and other bacteria. And home-type care occupancy is introduced to allow safe and affordable building care in a home-type setting. That's from what I understand, but Sam is here. I will turn the floor over to them if they have anything they'd like to add, or they're certainly here to help you councillors with any questions that you might have with respect to that.
Any questions for Sam?
Just a standard code, right?
Yeah, we're just adopting the.
Just
the
an
code,
update to
my
it, yeah.
understanding, yeah. I also want to commend Sam for taking all that training. I think it's a really important position, and we've, up until this point, we've been asking the person who formerly had that position to help out, as well as contractors. So it's great to have Sam in that position. So congratulations and thank you, Sam.
Welcome to Team Stratford.
Well, yeah, Sam's been with us for a bit, but welcome to an expanded role within the team. Yeah.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, with that, we've had a motion moved and seconded. Any other comments or questions? If not, we'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Motion carried. Thank you, Councillor.
You're welcome.
Oh, sorry.
No, just going back, the minutes are there from our meeting. We did discuss further revisions to the naming, street naming policy. Scott's not here tonight. He's just continuing to do great work on that. It's just there for your review. I think some of you certainly have been interested in that and following along, and so it's there at the most recent evolution of that. But other than that, subject to any questions, that'd be my report, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, on that, I guess the approach is that we want to take the time it takes to get it right, because we want to make sure that it's something that will survive the test of time, and we hopefully won't have to revisit.
That's the hope.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we'll now move on to infrastructure. I'll ask Chair of that committee, Deputy Mayor Gallant, to give his report.
Thank you, Worship. The infrastructure package meetings are in the package here. Last month, we didn't have a meeting with the infrastructure committee. So we'll just start we remain busy with the many projects underway. Construction of the new water reservoir tower is generally complete. The tower will be filled with water for pressure testing and commissioning in the next week or two. LED lighting, the retrofit tender for the town hall complex continues, and more than half of the new fixtures have been installed already. Reception center upgrades continue at Town Hall and Cotton Park. The tender for the community campus solar array project closed on March 20th, and a resolution tonight recommending award for the work is being presented this evening. Tenders will be received April 4th for the restoration of Kelly's Pond. 3 bids were submitted and will be discussed at the infrastructure committee meeting next week. Work is resumed at the waterfront gathering and event space, with the contractor anticipating to be complete by early July. And the work on the Corey's 4-main extension project will begin along Kinloch Road early May. As infrastructure staff has been busy with the finalizing purchase of projects for 2024 budgets. Hiring process for casual seasonal positions has begun. Procurement of a new truck for the 2024 budget. Planning is scheduled for spring and summer utility component maintenance, valve exercise, and hydrant maintenance and repair. Directional flushing, gravity, sewer flushing, station maintenance, and so on. Then assessments of buildings, parks, trails, sports fields, properties, all our properties, sidewalks, and so on, determine what needs to be addressed. Now that the winter is over, maintenance and upkeep of the vehicles and equipment is ongoing for preparations for the transition from winter equipment to summer equipment starting. Bylaw complaints and investigations continue to increase as the weather changes. Water and sewer inspections and water turn-ons for new development is increasing. ongoing inspection and maintenance of water and sewer systems, and managing ongoing customer and resident inquiries and concerns. During the month of March, there were no major incidents or emergencies. All sewer and water infrastructure performed exceptionally well during the recent heavy rain and snow melt conditions. Well sample results immediately following heavy rains met regulation guidelines. And that's my report. Any questions, concerns?
Any comments or questions? No? Okay, I understand, Deputy Mayor, you have a resolution?
Yep. Bring that up. Resolution, Town of Stratford Resolution number INC 003 2024, Community Campus Solar Array. Moved by myself. Whereas the 2024 town capital budget includes $8,337,585, including HST, for the completion of community campus site servicing project, including the installation of a 100 kilowatt solar array. Whereas one tender received on March 20th, 2024 for the solar array project consisting of design and build of a 100-watt photovoltaic ground mount solar array, including the supply installation of incidentals and apparatus, fencing, driveway access, and the reinstatement, which with results as follows. Contractor, Hanson Solar Energy Limit, and the bid excluding HSD was $297,500. And whereas the engineer's estimate for the project was $517,000, including HSD, displaying that the submitted tender represents acceptable value. Being resolved, the community campus solar array project be awarded to Hanson Solar Energy Limited in the amount of $297,500, HSD excluded. This resolution bears the recommendation of the Infrastructure Committee as conducted by an email poll on April 4th, 2024.
Okay, do I have a seconder? Oh, sorry, Jody got there first, sorry.
Big savings here is great.
Yeah.
Great savings.
Okay, any discussion?
Just a comment, Your Worship, falls well between estimate for the project. I'm a little surprised on the submission, given the number of companies that are involved with the installation of solar arrays. That perhaps speaks to the high degree of involvement amongst different communities and individuals for installation of these projects. I don't know, but I would have thought that there'd be more, but happy with the bid that we received.
I think they're all very busy, probably, maybe. Any other comments or questions?
One, Your Worship, is this the extent of the solar we're going to have in the campus?
Yep.
100 kilowatts?
Just hooked up to the wellness center.
Sorry, Gene.
Hesitant to touch that because we all know that's going to happen. So the 100 kilowatts is essentially the restriction right now with the agreement for net metering with Maritime Electric. So unless that would change in the future, or we were looking at a purchasing agreement where they would just purchase any power that we produce, that is what the basis of this was from the very beginning when we applied for funding so many years ago, was to meet that requirement. There would be opportunity for roof mount systems on the building in the future, but we would have to look at those agreements with Maritime Electric at that time.
This is underground.
This is a ground mount
ground
system,
level.
yeah.
Yep.
I think it's a good question, Councillor, and I think anything we can do to change the approach to approach other than net metering, I think would be really great for us.
Oh, yeah.
You should be able to get credit for all the electricity you produce and use it as you need it.
I'll just add that we actually have an agreement in place with Maritime Electric that until we are seeing full demand on the campus for this array, we are entering into a sort of a temporary purchasing agreement with them where they will get some amount back, basically in credit dollar amount for any solar energy that we produce until such time as we're using that up in the building that we may have in
Buy
place
it at
there.
one price and sell it at a higher price.
Jeannie, can I ask just one more question, I guess, technically on this? If there's depending on how the facility is operated, is there a possibility, like I know that 100 kilowatts probably a maximum for an entity, I guess. Is there if there were other entities is it possible to, you know, use that to expand? I mean, 100 like I think I have 12 in my house. I'm just thinking 100 kilowatts for that area is, especially with the exposure, I think like it'd be nice. I know the limitations. It'd be nice if Maritime Electric or someone would be able to make some kind of exception for this type of development.
And I
As we
think-
are a
yeah.
leader in this type of thing. Sorry, Jeannie.
I think there is definitely opportunity for those changes down the road, and they, I think, are currently looking at or reviewing their agreements and making changes there. In terms of other entities on the actual campus site, like the high school, for instance, they could have their own agreement, obviously. But there's definitely opportunity for some changes as we have higher demand on the site, for sure.
And as technology evolves, yeah. Thank you. Any other comments or questions?
Just need to vote.
Okay, we've got a moved and seconded motion on the floor. If there's no other comments or questions, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Motion carried. Okay, thank you for your report, Deputy Mayor. All right, we'll move on to Committee of the Whole. There's nothing from Committee of the Whole, and we'll now move on to Sustainability. I'll ask the Vice Chair, our Gordy Cox, Councillor Gordy Cox, Chair of that committee, is not with us, not able to be here tonight, so I'll ask the Vice Chair of that committee, Councillor Ron Dowling, to give the report for Sustainability.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Sustainability Committee did meet on April 3rd, and some highlights in that meeting are as follows. The water school finished up in March after another successful year. Students were engaged in sessions throughout the day focusing on topics such as water conservation and watersheds. Recognizing the limited accessibility of water school to rural areas, fourth-year UPEI students have initiated a project aimed at developing a curriculum and exploring methods to expand water school across PEI. They'll be presenting their findings and proposals in a forthcoming session. The residential tree planting program application deadline has been extended to Friday, April 12th. And the goal of this program is to help residents access low-cost, good-quality native tree species, encouraging residents to plant trees and gain an appreciation for the urban forest, and to increase Stratford's tree canopy, particularly along streets, and enhance the urban forest in Stratford. We encourage residents to get their application in by this Friday. Staff are working on hosting a discussion this spring with the business community to receive further input from them as to how we can best support them. Staff are working to confirm a date and a facilitator for this session. The Stratford Town Talk podcast continues on the alternative weeks to the Town E-News. It has garnered some media attention as well as interest from other municipalities in potentially exploring the possibility of hosting their own podcasts similarly as well. The Diversity and Inclusion Subcommittee met on April 4th and have a number of items in the works, including a series of virtual presentations through a partnership with the Canadian Museum of Immigration at Pier 21 that runs from this past April 6th, May 4th, and May 25th. Residents are encouraged to sign up early for these sessions as they are limited in number of participants and are a great opportunity to explore our immigration history. The Diversity and Inclusion Subcommittee are leading an anniversary project which is just getting off the ground ahead of the town's 30th anniversary next April. The project looks to connect 30 youth with 30 older residents to capture their story of Stratford and produce a book of 30 stories to launch at the town's celebrations next year. The committee will be looking for assistance from the Heritage and Arts and Culture subcommittees, as well as potentially the Stratford Youth Center. And there'll be more to come on this, Your Worship, as this project gets going. If there's any questions in relation to Sustainability Committee report, I'll entertain those.
Any comments or questions? I had the great honor to go to several businesses and present welcome awards. Quao Pao Thai restaurant, Jennifer's Nails, and the what was the other one? Starbucks, yeah. They're three very popular and successful town businesses, which we had a great visit with them, and I want to thank Wendy for setting that up and for all her work with regard to engagement of the business community and for all the work she does to try to sustain our business community here. Any other comments or questions with regard to the sustainability report? If not, we'll move on to next report, Intergovernmental Affairs and Accountability. That's my committee. I chair that committee. We had a meeting on April 4th, 24. The minutes are not yet ready, just this last week. So I will be reporting in more detail at the next council meeting. However, there was a good discussion about the town's approach to revenue sharing, and I shared some information about the work that's being done by the Federation of PEI municipalities, as well as the at the national level the revenue share, or the work that's being done by the Federation of Canadian Municipalities to lobby for all municipalities and more funding for all municipalities in Canada. There was a number of meetings with other levels of government. I did meet on 2 occasions with Member of Parliament Lawrence Macaulay, and we're trying to set a further meeting with him up, and I'll be away until May the 5th, but after sometime in the middle of May, we want to meet with him to really go over our plans for the community campus, and specifically the building of a wellness facility that really is one of our top priorities for the town, to put that recreational infrastructure in place for the town really needs, so that our children aren't playing ball in other communities as their home games, and we have enough soccer fields, and we have enough, and they're not playing hockey and other arenas around the island as home games, that we do have, we can look after our own recreational needs. Yeah, there was a, yeah, that's my report. Any comments or questions on my report?
Just maybe a couple comments, if I can, Your Worship. We were able to take part in a federal pre-budget announcement. A few of us were here last week. Not maybe the one we were hoping that we were going to get some money for our campus, but some good. So we had a good discussion on intergovernmental affairs on some of these pre-budget announcements. One that I think is going to be a positive for folks in this area, with the federal government looking at renters using their good payment history of their rent to help to prove the creditworthiness. I think that's a big thing for a lot of folks, especially we talk about our kids. My son's not that old yet, but if you're renting for a long time and you had no credit, you go to buy a house, or either if you're lucky enough to get it, you're paying a crazy high interest rate, or you get turned down altogether. So I think that's a positive thing, and I while it wasn't what we were hoping the announcement was, it was a good one. Another one, the National School Food Program, was another one we did talk about a little bit at our Intergovernmental Affairs meeting. A couple other things, the KPI reporting Results Matter website, credit to Wendy and to Jade and all the folks that put a lot of time into that. It is a great thing if you get to check out our website. Resident survey is underway now, Wendy, I think. And we did get to, we have a very good committee. Great members, very engaged, and, asking about the budget, and they kind of reiterated to what the finance chair was saying. We have a good plan. They believe in the plan. Their biggest concern right now is childcare and different things that, that I know staff and other various government agencies are trying to help with. But again, kind of reinforces the decision we made on that, and it was nice to get some validation from our resident committee members on that. Thanks.
Thank you. You obviously took better notes than I did. No, I appreciate Councillor Jackson is vice chair of the Accountability and Intergovernmental Affairs and Accountability Committee, and he does a great job, and I want to thank him for all those updates. There was, I do want to put in a plug. I'm glad you reminded me that there is a real need for residents to take the time to complete the resident survey that has been sent out. It's a really valuable tool for council and for staff to know. We have established priorities, but we really need input from residents in terms of where we should be spending their money and what their priorities are, both short-term and long-term, as well as get some feedback on some of the programs that where we're spending their money, and we really want to know how well we're doing, what they think of everything that is being done. So I really encourage everyone to really take the time to fill that out, and you can do it online, or you can do it. There will be a paper copy provided to each household, but really want to encourage people to do it and give us your feedback, the benefit of your experience and expertise and perspective on town affairs. The engagement is invaluable to us, so thank you. Yeah, so any other comments or questions with regard to my report, and I guess Vice Chair Jackson's report? Thanks a lot.
Councillor Jackson, great announcements by the federal government, the House Accelerator Fund. They're doubling up on that, and there's some great announcements, and hopefully all municipalities take advantage of that. You know, and with the mention of Jody, the registry there for renters and so on, and all good programs. And it's just time the municipalities take advantage of it. Yep.
Yeah, it's responding to some of our major priorities, and
it is. So, you know.
Just want to also mention that we do have a great partnership with the provincial government as well, that we've had a lot of contact with our members of the Legislative Assembly, Jill Burridge and Jen Redmond. They both are great allies of the town for moving some of our priorities forward. So we really value that.
Yeah, and one last thing on that too. So it's nice to see some, as much as they wouldn't agree on it, but the unity around affordability and the key in both budgets, provincial budget and the federal budget this year, around affordability measures. And you know, we have lots of different folks at varying income levels in our town, but it's nice to see some of those items that will impact folks on the ground here, and we're fortunate to have a good relationship with the folks of all government levels to implement some of those things. Thanks.
Thank you. If there's no other comments or questions, we'll move on to next item on the agenda is inquiries by members of council. Anything about the town that anyone would like to inquire about, follow up on, or anything? If not, we'll look at item 18, other committees. I'll ask the chair of Stratford Seniors Complex Committee, the Deputy Mayor, Steve Gallant, to give his report.
Thank you, Worship. A few items that we're working on. Unit 10 has been rented, and the new tenant has moved in. Unit 13 is still available for rent. We have been advertising on social media that there is a unit available. Capital work is planned for 2024, kitchen cabinets and so on, starting soon. We'll be advertising for gardening quote for summer. Year-end working paper file is in with the auditors, and we spoke to the director of St. John's to find out what company did their building assessment review, as their quote came in very high last year. So we'll be retendering that work soon. So, but other than that, it's a great acquisition by the town, and it's great. Facilitates a lot of people. It's nice to see that we always talked about around the table of people low income, and it's a great opportunity to facilitate that issue.
So yeah, thank you. So I understand that the building assessment review is that something that's necessary? And maybe I don't want to put you on the spot, but is anybody familiar with what that would entail and what's meant by, and whether it's required to be done by a certain date?
Is it?
If not, I can follow up.
No, CMHC?
I can follow up offline if it's, I don't want to put anybody on the spot.
Typically, the building assessment review is just to look at the condition of the building, structure, roof, windows, And I think it's part of the assessment process that we have to do on a regular basis with CMHC. So Kim can probably provide some more information, but I believe that's what it is.
Yeah, we can follow that up next
Yep.
meeting.
Yeah, sure.
That'd be fine. Thank you.
The only concern here around the table, people talking about the rooms should have heat pumps in the rooms. If we put the heat pumps in the rooms, there's going to be an extra cost for that heating. So I don't know if it'd be able to facilitate. I know we're looking at for one for the lobby, but if it each,
Is that going forward, the one for the lobby?
I think so. Yeah.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Because
And-
that heat, cool air should
Yeah.
permeate further into the building.
With the main-
if you
yeah.
Leave the doors open.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just too many like heat pump that we should be able to get one through the provincial government. I know Jeremy, we put up 3 down in Cotton Park, right? So just over the last week, there are 3 heat pumps installed in Cotton Park, so which is nice,
Yeah.
really good. And, but with the extra, that's what I'm saying, that we have to work around, it's sort of an extra cost for the heat, like somebody heat the room, right? So, but it's good to have the cool area, but same time, they're on that income level, right?
Yeah, it's an efficient form of heating and cooling, but it's also a capital cost up front.
Yes.
And, it's a CMHC, we don't own the building, but it's.
That's right.
Yeah, we run it, so, yeah. Yeah, it's something we're gonna have to continue to work on to see if there's any solution there.
Councillor Glant, just for clarity, the seniors pay their own electric bills?
Pardon?
They pay their own electric bills at the seniors complex?
I couldn't, Kim's not here, my go-to,
Yeah,
and
we can follow that up at our next meeting. That is a good question. We'll.
that's a good question.
Well,
That's a good,
just,
yeah.
the mindset would be that you're removing a cost from oil heater, the other heat, you know what I mean? That it's
Yeah.
just kind of being ported
Yeah.
and lessened.
Yeah.
So
You
if
know
they're
what?
already paying for heating
Yeah.
costs, then this would just
Yeah.
move it to another. But I will say, I'd love a timeline if the heat pump is being installed in a common area. I'm really, to me, that's really important that we have something there for the seniors in the summer months, that there is a place for them to be cool. So,
Just with regard to your first question, I know I sign a check on a regular basis for heating oil for the complex. I don't recall signing any electrical bills, though, so I think each electric bill is billed individually, I think. But the rent is geared to, I believe it's around 1/3 or 30% of their income, or 23% of their income, or something like that. So,
But I know where you're going, as it's down the road, we should have it in each room, like a heat pump, and for cool and hot air, so it's just, it's a necessity of moving forward, and fossil fuels and so on. And I know we have a generator there, if the power goes out, it's ran by diesel, and that facilitates. When we had Fiona here, they were on power.
let's follow this up with a discussion at Committee of the Whole to see if there's anything we can do with
Yep.
regard to that. I know it's past budget time, and it's something that maybe we could consider
Yep.
either for a future budget or a supplementary budget if there's if there's a way forward to make this happen.
It's a partnership of provincial government, federal government.
Yeah. Okay, any other comments or questions? Any appointments to the committees? Any committees? I believe, no. We committed, we didn't need to, appointments to the fire board were done last month, right? Yeah, okay. No proclamations?
Nope.
Any other business anybody wants to bring to the table at this point? If not, I'll call for a motion for adjournment. So moved. Adjourned.